Imagine this, you're sifting through old junk in your attic, boxes of faded photos, your mom's tacky holiday sweaters, when your fingers brush against something unexpected. A letter. Yellowed, fragile, addressed to your father in handwriting you don't recognize. You tear it open, and your heart stops at these words, "You owe me. Keep silent, or everyone will know what you did." What if the father you adored, the one who taught you to ride a bike and cheered at every school play, was hiding a secret so twisted, it could unravel everything you thought was real? Welcome to Whisper's Story, where we peel back the layers of the past to reveal the truths no one dares to speak. Today, we dive into a daughter's shattering discovery about her father's hidden life. Stick with us as we uncover what this letter conceals, and why it stayed buried for decades. I'm Emily, 38, a high school teacher with 2 kids and a life that's pretty predictable, until that rainy Saturday. I was up in the attic, sorting through boxes of old junk, when I found it, a yellowed envelope tucked inside a cracked photo album. The handwriting was spidery, unfamiliar, and it was addressed to my dad. The postmark? Over 40 years old. My fingers hesitated before tearing it open. Inside, the note was short but sharp, "You owe me. Keep silent, or everyone will know what you did." My stomach flipped. My dad, Tom Harper, the guy who coached my softball team and made terrible dad jokes, had a secret? I stared at the words, my mind racing. Was this a prank? A mistake? But something told me it wasn't. I had to know more. Have you ever stumbled across something in your family's past that didn't add up? What did you do about it? I started with Mom. We were sipping tea in her kitchen when I slid the letter across the table. Her eyes flicked to it, and her face went pale, like she'd seen a ghost. "Oh, Emily, it's probably nothing," she said, too quickly. "Just some old nonsense." But her hands shook as she poured more tea. She was hiding something. Next, I drove to Aunt Clara's, my dad's older sister. She's the family keeper of stories, so I figured she'd spill. When I showed her the letter, her mouth tightened. "Your dad had a rough patch when he was young," she said, stirring her coffee. "But let's not dig up old graves." I pushed, gently at first then harder, but she shut down. "Drop it, Em." Her voice was firm, but her eyes were scared. What were they all so afraid of? If your gut's telling you something's off, trust it. Sometimes the people we love hold back to protect us, or themselves. If my family wouldn't talk, I'd let the past speak for itself. I headed to the library, armed with coffee and determination. Hours later, buried in microfilm from the 1970s, I found it, a grainy article about a jewelry store robbery in our little Ohio town. 2 guys got caught, but a third slipped away. The date lined up with the letter. The story called it an act of desperation. No glamour, just a messy crime. My heart thudded. Could Dad have been that third guy? The kind man who tucked me in every night? It didn't fit, but the pieces were starting to click in a way I didn't like. I needed more than a hunch. Ever found out something about someone you love that didn't match who you thought they were? How did you handle it? I couldn't do this alone anymore. I hired a private investigator, Mr. Daniels, a grizzled guy who smelled like cigars. He dug into the letter and came back with a bombshell. It was from Victor Green, one of the robbery's convicted guys. Victor claimed Dad was the third man but flipped on them, taking a deal to walk free. I wanted to laugh it off. Dad a snitch? A criminal? But then Daniels dropped another twist. Victor's story didn't hold up. Records showed Dad was out of town that week, working a summer job. The letter was a lie, a grudge from a bitter man. Relief washed over me. Until I realized, if it wasn't the robbery, what was Dad hiding? What would you do if you thought you'd cracked a mystery, only to find out you were chasing the wrong clue? I couldn't let it go. I cornered Dad after dinner one night, the letter trembling in my hand. His face crumpled as I laid out Victor's claim and the robbery. "That's nonsense, Em," he said, voice steady but eyes darting. I wasn't even there. He had an answer for everything. Too polished, like he'd rehearsed it. I didn't buy it. The letter, Mom's nerves, Aunt Clara's fear. It all pointed to something. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The Dad I adored was slipping away, replaced by a stranger I didn't trust. I had to keep digging, no matter how much it hurt. Sometimes love means facing hard truths. Don't let fear stop you from seeking what's real. Just when I thought I'd hit rock bottom, I found out Mom knew more than she'd let on. I was snooping in her desk, desperate times, right? And found a faded photo of Dad with two guys I didn't recognize. On the back, in her handwriting, Tom, Victor, and Ray 74. Keep this buried. My own mother had helped hide whatever this was. Betrayal stung worse than doubt. She'd lied to my face, protected him over me. I felt like a fool, alone in a family I didn't know anymore. But that photo was a lead, Victor again, and someone named Ray. I wasn't done yet. Ever been let down by someone you thought had your back? How did you pick up the pieces? I tracked down Raymond Carter, an old friend of Dad's who'd moved an hour away. He was reluctant, but I wore him down. Over coffee, he spilled it. Dad wasn't in the robbery, but he'd been tangled in something worse. In 74, their neighborhood was being gentrified. Poor families like Dad's pushed out by rich developers. Victor and Ray planned a break-in to scare one of them off, and Dad went along. Not to steal, but to protect his home. It went wrong. A security guard got hurt, and the police pinned it on Victor. They pressured Dad to testify, threatening to frame his little brother, my Uncle Mike, if he didn't. Dad caved, and Victor took the fall. The letter? Victor's revenge from prison. I sat there, numb. Dad wasn't a thief, but he'd betrayed a friend to save his family. Have you ever had to choose between loyalty and survival? What would you have done in Dad's shoes? I went back to Dad with Ray's story and the photo. He didn't deny it this time. I was 19, he said, voice breaking. We were losing everything, our house, our future. I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt. He'd carried the guilt ever since, quietly giving back through volunteer work and donations. I wanted to hate him, but I saw the kid he'd been, scared, desperate, trapped. Privilege hadn't shielded him, it had cornered him. I forgave him, not because it was easy, but because it was true. He was still my dad, flaws and all. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. Holding on hurts more than letting go. This whole mess changed me. I used to see people in black and white, good or bad. Now I get it. We're all gray, shaped by choices and chances we don't always control. I started listening more, judging less. At school, I notice the kids who act out. They're not bad, just struggling. I'm writing a book about this, hoping it helps someone else untangle their own family knots. It's not about airing dirty laundry, it's about finding peace in the mess. Has a tough truth ever shifted how you see the world? What did it teach you? I told my kids, Jake and Lily, about their grandpa's past. Not to scare them, but to show them people can mess up and still be worth loving. They hugged me tight, and I felt lighter than I had in months. Dad's story isn't our ending, it's a lesson. And that's where Emily's story leaves us, standing at the edge of a truth too heavy to ignore. It's not just about a letter or a secret, it's about the fragile threads that tie us to the ones we love, and what happens when they snap. Her journey reminds us that every family has shadows, and sometimes, facing them is the only way to find peace. Thanks for joining us on this ride. If Emily's tale left you haunted, curious, or reaching for your own unanswered questions, then Whisper's Story is your home. We're here to unearth the stories that linger in the silence, the ones that challenge us, move us, and connect us. Subscribe now, and let's keep chasing the whispers of the past together. Because every secret has a voice, and every story deserves its moment. If you're out there, wrestling with your own secrets or someone else's, know this, the truth's heavy, but it can lift you up too. Thanks for listening to mine. Loved this ride? Subscribe to Whisper's Story for more tales that dig deep and lift you up. Hit that button. Let's keep the stories coming.